come the pictures are up on the screen?
I know. Don't need anything to be about.
Where did you go? Did you go on a zip line? I know a lot of those rope courses on Eastern Caribbean have zip lines at the end.
I did not.
I'm sorry. If you can get a dive in and a rope course with zip lines at the end, that's kind of the ultimate.
Snorkeling, surf, but it's not so. Isn't snorkeling the best though? It's like swimming in the salt water. I gotta do swimming because I can't swim. But I sort of can swim, but I'm not great at it.
That's why you need to scuba dive.
You should scuba dive. That's something proud of there. Well,
Well, that's why you just click CCD, it takes you right to the top. But I mean, there's better ways to do it. You do a controlled set. You just don't like that's like. You get thalassophobia.
That chair's apparently broken too.
Yeah.
There's another broken chair down there, all over stuff up.
Oh my goodness.
The arms broken.
What's going on in here?
You're 20 years old.
And we still need to get a big.
Yeah, is there an extra one? We can move one of these down here. Basically. One specific.
You didn't know it like that anyway, though. When you put your elbow up there.
Kind of worried that someone else is going to come sit. I guess it'll be Noah or Steve.
Okay, it is 6 o'clock. And before you start the recording. Thank you. Ah, 6 o'clock. So before we begin this meeting, I am going to call point as a privilege here. And the chair is going to ask that we all sing happy birthday to Joe Hamlin, who came to City Council on his birthday. All right.
Are we really singing here? I don't feel like the people online deserve that, or the people here.
I just turned it off.
Oh, okay, good.
So that we can recognize each other. Ready? 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe.
Happy birthday to you. All right. Now I'll call the meeting to actually be recorded. Okay. Thank you. Calling this meeting to order. I have not asked for anyone to give that notification or thought. Any volunteers since I didn't ask before the meeting? Okay. All right. Seth, if you would begin and then Lisa.
Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we come before thee at the beginning of this council meeting to discuss the affairs of this great city. Heavenly Father, we ask thee to guide us and inspire us, help us to make informed and educated decisions that best represent our citizens, to provide for their well-being. We ask thee for health and safety for our citizens, our staff, and all those who enter into Syracuse. But we also ask thee for that blessing for peace and understanding of the conflicts around this world. We are grateful for all of that was done for us. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. To make this easier, I am going to start a new thing tonight, and I'm going to assign next meetings, next business meetings, thought, order, and pledge, a meeting ahead. How cool is that? So, thought or invocation, Jen, you are up next month, and pledge, Paul. That way we know we get it. Okay, so we need to adopt the agenda. And in adopting the agenda, I am removing 2 items from the agenda. Item number 10, resolution to intent to adjust the common boundary and consideration to go into closed session. That's not needed tonight. And I'll explain item number 10 being removed. There's been some miscommunication between cities, and I had a discussion. I was approached by the mayor of West Point. He felt like they were not informed the same way that we were informed. So I think we've mutually decided that we're going to let the developer make an application before it can get us to. This seems to be a little out of line the way we took it on. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so if I can get a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we'll open it up for public comment. Public comment, we have an opportunity to take up to 3 minutes and share with us anything that we may not be talking about on the agenda, or that there are public hearings scheduled that you could talk about that subject. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Now we have the approval of minutes. We have April 26th work session, April 26th special business meeting, and May 10th business meeting. Can I get a motion for that?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Are there any discussion points? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Now we have items of common consent. We have 2 this evening. Authorize administration to execute interlocal agreement for the billing and collection of fees for advanced life support services, and the authorization of administration to dispose of surplus property from the fire department. We've talked about these extensively in work sessions, and at least preliminary had a discussion of consent. Unless there's any objections, I'll take a motion on those.
I move that we authorize administration to execute interlocal agreement for the billing and collection of fees for advanced life support services, as well as authorize administration to dispose of surplus property from the fire department.
I second.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, proposed hearing. This would be a public hearing. Proposed resolution R22-22, adopting the tentative budget and as the operating budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. And continuing this public hearing in August for consideration of increasing the 2022 tax rate to the level to be determined. So I will begin by opening public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to talk about the proposed budget? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, any discussion points? We've talked about the budget extensively, so unless you bring something up, I'm going to assume that we are still resolved with the current budget as an operating budget.
Would you like me to add the actual rate? Now it's been calculated.
Okay, yep.
So yeah, the rolls closed and it closed after I put together the packet. With the proposed rate increase, our tax rate would go to 0.001689, which is slightly above last year. And the main reason for that is because property values did increase about 30%. Last year, our average home value was 410,000. This year, it's 535,000. So those are some numbers that I
Until
think.
yesterday, right?
Right.
Okay.
Can you
Okay,
repeat that rate?
.001689.
Thank you.
Any further discussion, council? Again, this isn't final. We'll have a truth and taxation hearing in August, but for now, this would become our operating budget. I'll take a motion.
I move that we adopt the tentative budget as the operating budget.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6, proposed resolution R 22-25 authorizing and directing the participation rates of Syracuse City in the Public Employees Retirement System and the Public Safety Retirement System for fiscal year 2022-23. Steve, can you give us an update on this?
Sure. Every year we're required by Utah Retirement Systems to adopt the rates that they put forward. The good news is the rates either stayed the same or had a slight decrease this year. That's the first time I've seen that since in quite a while.
Yeah. Any discussion amongst the council? I'll take a motion.
Mayor, propose we accept resolution 2225 as it is defined in the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 7 is a public hearing. Proposed resolution R 22-23, amending the Syracuse City Consolidated Fee Schedule by making adjustments to the stormwater impact fee and various utility rates. Steve, would you like to preface this for us?
Sure. The stormwater impact is just a scheduled increase each year with our impact fee plan. That goes up about $300 per year. And then we've talked extensively about the utility rate proposed changes. This is in line with our budget discussion, but there are several rates going up due to pass-through costs from our suppliers and vendors, as well as hiring new staff to take on the demand of growth in the city. And the third item is also for our secondary water program to begin installing meters to meet the mandate by 2030.
Okay. These have been fairly extensively discussed. Are there any other points somebody wants to bring forward? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the Syracuse City, or we adopt the Syracuse City wage scale for FY 22-23.
No, we're
I don't
not
think
there
this is
yet.
right. We're on
We're on
the
R
schedule.
22-23. Thank
Sorry.
you, though.
I want to do both.
Mayor, excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that it's a public hearing. I don't know if we
Oh,
officially
okay.
opened it.
Yes, so let me open this public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come forward and talk about the adjustments to the consolidated fee schedule. Seeing none, I will close public hearing. Thank you for that reminder. Now I'll take a motion on R 2022 or R 22-23.
I move that we approve the consolidated fee schedule, R 22-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've moved on. That's unanimous. Number 8, proposed resolution R 22-24, adopting the Syracuse City wage scale for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Any discussion on this? I think we've talked about it pretty much in depth.
Nothing has changed, right?
No, nothing has changed since our last discussion. Okay, so I'll take a motion.
I move that we adopt our 22-24 Syracuse City wage scale for the fiscal year of 2022-2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay,
Okay,
only because I don't agree with the lowest.
okay. So that passes 4-1. Now, item number 9, proposed ordinance 2022-14, amending the Syracuse City General Plan map for property located approximately 1700 South Banbury Drive from commercial to high density residential. Noah, would you preface this for us quickly?
Yes. As you said, this is a rezone, general plan amendment, and there will be a pending rezone if he's successful with this. The applicant has told me he's online. If you have any questions, this is for the area west of Banbury. And the reason why we would change the general plan in this area is just so that the whole project is one general plan. It's more of a housekeeping. If you remember, they've amended the plan recently to include a parking lot over there, so there's not any units. You can build a parking lot in pretty well any zone.
Okay, so I don't think that there's anything new here, so there wouldn't be a need to bring him in unless somebody has a specific question. So is there any items to discuss here, or are we good because this has not changed since work session?
We're good.
Still a parking lot.
Okay, all right, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I propose that we move forward ordinance or accept ordinance 2022-14 as it is written in the agenda.
Okay, and I will just clarify, this is just a map change.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that's 4-1, it passes. We have removed item number 10, item number 11. Proposed resolution R22-26 approving comprehensive edits to the Syracuse City Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual. Steve, would you like to give us this is something that's gone on for a long time. A lot of these are just making sure that this agrees with other things that we've changed throughout the year, but give us a few highlights if you would.
Sure. It's been about 2 years since we've made any comprehensive edits. So like you say, Mayor, a lot of these are just corrections, minor changes. We did go through and propose, let's see. I'm trying to pick out some good ones here.
What about
Yeah.
the secondary job, like the,
That we did not address yet. We're going to take that up at a later date. Yeah, a lot of these are pretty minor items in here,
Okay,
so I'll leave it at that.
when's a later date?
it'll have to go to a work session, so.
Okay,
we can
can we
move
do
that.
that?
Mhm.
Thank you.
I had a question that's not an edit, but I just had a question. I want to make sure I understand it correctly. So if somebody is applying for employment, and they're in that pre-employment drug screening, and it shows there that they have either anything other than a negative drug screen comes back as non-employable. Is there any room for discretion if somebody provides like a prescription for a benzo or anything like that?
If they provide prescriptions, it'll come back as a negative.
Okay,
They'll match it up with their prescription records.
okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other items? Okay, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the comprehensive edits to the Syracuse personnel policy found in R2226, resolution R2226.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. Item number 12, this is a discussion item, and I'm going to turn the time over to Councilman Teague, who is going to discuss future ideas for how we manage the Syracuse City Youth Council, its purpose and structure.
Yep. Thank you. So I asked the mayor if we could get this on the agenda because as I've tried to take the torch on from Lisa, who was doing a lot of heavy lifting and getting the youth council going over the last few years, especially during the pandemic, it was a challenge for me and for some particular structural reasons. You guys will remember when we revamped the youth council, it was very complicated, or there was a lot of structure, so much so that it made it hard to actually follow. And Lisa, just chime in whenever. It's a very robust program, lots of rules and or not rules, but procedure and practice and everything. And then because it runs on a calendar year, you bring in youth that start, like if you're graduating senior, you might start halfway through your graduating, or the second half of your graduating year, and you might be done and moving on. And then, trying to get participation in like Heritage Days, for instance, stuff like that becomes a challenge because they're still technically part of the youth council. And so what I'm kind of bringing to you guys is just I want to have a discussion to see if if we think it would make sense to switch it to a school year cycle. That way we can get somebody recruited within the first month, let's say, of all the schools that are participating. We could recruit here over the summer through the magazine, through Facebook or whatever for, just put that information out there that it's coming, but also talk about recruiting maybe one adult, one or two adult couples to support the program. So it's not like so robust as it was before. Keep it very simple. And I think it could be as simple as just ask them to meet monthly. We could support them through, in the past, they've done like pizza or whatever through these monthly or bi-monthly get-togethers, and ask the youth council to just pick 6 events within the city to participate in, or whatever that number looks like. And from our list of events we're already doing in the city, there's 6 easy, but we could ask them to come up with their own event, or we could say, hey, attach you guys yourselves in the planning process for Illumination, Heritage Days, Pumpkin Walk, Night Out Against Crime, the fire station, open house, what else? Easter. And then there's also a Winter Arts Council event this year. We can let them pick, and keep it really, really simple. I'm not an expert in this field, but I've seen other cities that have pretty functional youth councils that do pretty well. And I think that they can be a pretty good asset to our community. I think I was at the Easter egg setup, and it took us a while to get all the eggs distributed. And I asked a friend later that day what they did in their city, and they go, we don't do any of it. Youth council does it all. They take care of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I don't know that they would do all of it, because there's like 5 trillion eggs, I think. Is that the count?
Trillion for each one.
It felt like never ending story, but they would be able to support us either way, so that's the thought. I just want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. Or if you have better ideas, definitely happy to take it back. But I think I did advertise for Heritage Days out to the youth council, and who wants to participate over the summer as you're, out in Lake Powell or something, and Desert Powell. And then, nobody responded.
I like the idea of switching it to the school year. It's just logical. It does, it makes a lot of sense. It makes it easier on them to know what they're doing throughout the year.
I think the only challenge that I just want to bring forward, because we can solve this, but the only challenge that I see is if we move it to school year, we have several events that are summertime events that will be outside of the school year. Because I like the idea of saying, school year to school year, and then summer's kind of off, except for that's the majority of our events. Any thoughts on how we?
Well, maybe it would go to the start of one school year to the start of the next school year.
Okay,
Yeah. Sorry, that's not.
Krista, please come forward.
Ma'am,
You come teach us.
we need education.
I was just thinking, kind of the same thing, as other cheerleaders, they'll take the action with the fine.
Before the school year's over.
So they know they're going to be doing it throughout next year, and then they're involved.
Mhm.
So they're waiting for them to-
Mhm.
So they do it like for the spring, they have to apply, and then they can start in June.
I think you almost start in May, so maybe it's a 13-month term. So
So they share it in the last month of the year.
yeah, so there's some overlap as the old ones are going out and the new ones are coming in, that you have all of the.
Which we would be playing catch up this year to.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't pushing the button.
And officially,
Okay,
for the
good.
record, let me recognize that Krista is our Parks and Recreation Director.
Yeah, because working with CTC, we talked about getting kids involved at this very end of the school year, and they're like, you won't get a single kid participate now for anything from here through the end of the year. Maybe.
If you do it, if you do it so
Yeah.
they know that it's coming up.
April of
Yeah.
the Previous year.
The ones who are like juniors that are going to be seniors, sophomores
Yeah.
that are going to be juniors that way.
Well, and that's probably a good time to end their term too, in
Yeah.
April of the next year, because that's when the graduates are done.
Done, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're done in May.
And then as far as, there was a question about age, or like what schools would want to particularly participate. And I think there's been different opinions in the past, right? As far as like juniors and seniors versus do we get kids from the junior high? If it's junior high, is it only 9th grade? I don't know what your guys is.
I think 9th grade is when they start to be interested in that kind of thing. And you hate to say, we don't want you yet,
I think youth court starts in ninth grade. If they're old enough to judge other kids. Ninth grade.
In other districts, school districts, they start in ninth grade for high school. So, yeah, that's so that, I mean, you
So
could
you
do
mean
that.
So we would be advertising in at the end of the eighth grade year for the ninth grade
To
year?
go into ninth grade, or you could just, like you said, keep it 10th grade, and as they're going to ninth grade, going into high school, that's when they
How
apply.
exciting it would be to hang out as a ninth grader though. Like, you can help or do this stuff. Like, I say let them like do it. That eighth going into ninth grade. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like April of your eighth
Grade year
going
you
into
apply,
ninth
yeah.
grade. I think.
So you'd be eligible for 3 years would be under that premise.
Or-
Would.
Or
Do you guys have a preference on
Eighth
numbers?
grade. So,
Oh, you could be an eighth?
so you would apply in eighth grade, so you
Right,
could
so
be
you'd be
in
in
ninth
ninth,
grade,
10th,
10th
and
grade,
11th.
11th,
12.
Senior
in
year,
your senior year.
okay?
we're doing math now.
Well, we're counting.
And Jordan's using fingers, so I think.
I
you're accurate.
had, and I had enough.
All
This
right.
is doable.
Yeah, I think that's good information. As far as like the numbers of kids, in the past they've had 10, 12. Is that, I mean, do we just take what we can get?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Yeah.
and hopefully if you're lower in the age, you might get a little more. So you can always even take more and then divide them and say, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that,
So
So
I
you don't want to turn people away.
part of that question is what's a good number to have on on the council? Not, I mean, we should probably set a number of open.
That's
spots.
what,
Yeah.
That's the question.
Whether it's, whatever it is, we should probably set that number. Any thoughts on what that should be?
I would say like probably at least one representative per school that they're gonna do it in, at least one, maybe two. That's. So they can
I guess I would
alternate
like-
between the two.
I like the recommendation of our previous folk. Well, what is a good number for, I mean, I need to understand better what exactly I'm doing, but if they're not only, doing some of these activities, but also doing service, it seems like more the merrier.
I think definitely the more, if we had had more kids interested, I would have loved to have had them. And then there were some activities that you'd have a couple that were spearheading it and the others would peter off a little bit because they weren't as involved in it. But I think it would have been really beneficial for us to have had groups that we could have said, 3 of you are in charge of this instead of 1 of you is in charge of this, because that makes it a little bit easier for them, especially when they're a little younger. So I'd say at least I wouldn't have turned anyone away.
So here's a couple of thoughts. Scheduling for this item, we're going to have another work session to talk about it more thoroughly before we go into a July vote where we'll vote on the new structure of this. So I want to keep in mind that there's time for us to do a little bit of research. I'm thinking that maybe we ought to consider working the problem backwards a little bit. So if we go in, Seth, you suggested pick maybe 6 events during the year that they would be supportive of. So maybe we, between now and then, come up with a list of what we think those items or those events might be that would be good to recruit and solicit their help for. And then from there, working the problem backwards, the next step would be how many people really can help with that task. And then maybe we have kind of a collective number of how many we need. And so I'm not saying we exclude anyone. I'm just saying that we might have a target number of how many we need to recruit if not enough apply.
Yeah, and the only timeline we're up against a little bit is it would be beneficial to have an adult or the couples
Yeah.
identified, and we need to figure out how we identify those. Is it just through
Right.
advertising in the magazine, Facebook? We've seen, a lot of information go out about volunteer
Mhm.
positions, and it's hit or miss. It's hard, but
And we have had some response to that, so that's good. And I think that we can. The only reason we talked about not including this one until we knew what it was going to
yeah,
be.
no,
So,
that's fine.
yeah. But I think that there are people out there that would,
One other element we didn't mention was just that we did discuss that it would be good to have like one work session, at least for some portion of it, and one business meeting to see how it
Mhm.
operates. So
We can advertise it like in addition to your resume before 18, like we plan for this, help, that helps get some jobs and stuff. So that.
okay,
College.
yeah, so if we can move that to following work session.
Any other thoughts before we go forward? And I think that, yeah, this is good. And we should flesh this out in a work session and then we'll hopefully be ready to vote in July. Any other thoughts last minute? Okay, moving on. Thank you, council. We are to public comment. So our closing public comment this evening, I will open it to public comment. If anybody has a comment they'd like to share, again, it is up to 3 minutes on a subject that we may not have covered or you want us to be aware of or something. Please state your name and address.
Do I have to push? Oh, it's on.
It's on.
Jared Stoker. I live at 4585 West Buffalo Circle. It's off 4500. I've submitted a city ordinance change, hoping to discuss it the next work session. I've emailed all of you about it. What I'm proposing is simple. Currently, a city corner lot or a corner lot, the house needs to be back 25 feet, and then on the side, it needs to be 20 feet from the road for a building. I'm proposing the same thing for a lot in a cul-de-sac where if you own 90 degrees or 25% of the cul-de-sac, you can also do one accessory building that's also 20 feet back from the road. That's what I'm proposing. I'll be back.
We cannot respond to that tonight.
I know.
It's not on the agenda, but we will hold this for the next work session.
I'm just trying to
Yep.
tell you guys, if I tell you guys enough times, it'll be an easy
That's fine.
discussion next time.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, just taking another note to make sure I get it on the next agenda. Okay, any other public comments? Seeing none at this time, I will close public comment. Now I'm going to recess this meeting so that we can reconvene in an RDA meeting, which will be quickly followed by an MBA meeting. So let's reconvene at this point, since it is the same board, in our special redevelopment agency meeting. I will call this to order and ask that we quickly adopt the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimous. Now we have some minutes from our last RDA meeting, which was May 10th, special meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Now we have a public hearing. Proposed resolution RDA 2020 or R22-01, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year FY 2022-2023 as required by section 17C-1-601 of the Utah Code annotated in 1953. Okay, so first, I will call the public hearing to order and open it up for anyone who would like to comment on the redevelopment agency's budget approval. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Steve, would you like to give us just a quick overview? This is basically just our budget for the year because we have to have budgets in all these accounts.
Yeah, correct. The only reason we're doing this separately is they are two different boards that you guys govern. So that is the sole purpose. It is a pretty straightforward budget.
Okay. Any questions or comments about next year's budget for the RDA?
One thing I wanted to ask about in the RDA, I know I was looking through and I didn't see the parking lot re-architecture. Is that in this budget or is that this past year's? I'm trying to remember.
I think that's CDA.
It's in the current budget that we're in now. And
Okay.
since we're not going to get to it, we can roll that over as a budget opening next year.
Okay, I didn't see that. I did see the clock tower update, which will be good. Other than that, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no others, I'll take a resolution.
Move that we approve or propose resolution R2201, adopting the annual budget.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item, proposed resolution RDA 2022-02, authorizing the preparation and draft a community development project area. This would be, we've talked about this in a work session, that we would like to propose a community development area. This area would be located up on 193 between 2000 and 3000. And we need to make approval that we would go forward with the preparations of that draft. Any other discussion?
I still think we should take it all the way to the freeway. It's only another block and a half.
Okay, this motion just authorizes the draft, but we can certainly amend that draft.
So this is basically just to approve helping to develop this area with tax incentives. Is that?
This is just an action that allows us to draft up the plan for the area. We'll still need to go to each taxing entity and get it approved.
Okay.
And we'll still need to approve what we're going to propose to them in a future work session. But we do have to have a motion first that says we're going to prepare a draft. And that's really all this is.
Okay, drafting the map.
This is
Okay.
draft only.
In that case, I propose that we accept RDA R22-02, authorizing preparation of said draft.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I am going to call that we adjourn this meeting and move into an MBA meeting. This is our Municipal Building Authority meeting. And I will call this meeting to order and ask that we adopt the agenda. Moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our item agenda only has this item, which is the public hearing. Proposed resolution MBA 22-01, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2022-23 as required by section 17D-3-107 of Utah Code annotated in 1953. Steve, would you give us just a really quick why we have an MBA, a Municipal Building Authority, and what we're approving here?
And tell us the payoff date. I'd like to hear that.
So the MBA is a municipal building authority. It was set up as a separate legal entity to help the city in doing any bond issues. It was mainly for the issuance of the bond on this building and the new fire station. This is just the budget for that MBA.
And the repayment schedule, which is when right now? We're up to,
The payoff is 2028.
okay, we're moving along. All right. I'm going to open for public hearing if anybody would like to comment on this. Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. May have done that twice. Okay, now I'll take a motion to for the resolution MBA 22-01.
I move that we approve the proposed resolution MBA 2201, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2022-23 as required by section 17D-3-107 Utah Code annotated 1953.
I second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I will adjourn us from the MBA meeting and take us back into our regular session. In our regular session, we will not move into closed session tonight. Those items have been resolved outside. So we go to mayor and council announcements. I'll start down at this end. Jen, do you have any council announcements you'd like to make us aware of?
I'm usually used to going last. So the emergency preparedness fair for September, the museum has joined the emergency preparedness committee with it because it's a lot of lost skills and things like that they're doing. And it's looking like it's turning out to be a pretty big event and
Great.
it's going to be fun. So I'll give you guys more information on it when we get a little closer, but that's the September 25th.
Okay.
My only announcement is I met with the Waste Management Board and they voted to increase the dump fees as with everything else. So dump fees will be going from $5 to $10 And mattress recycling will be moving from $10 to $15 per mattress. So there's a fee adjustment there, and they're going through the same pains everybody else is with just inflation costs and things like that, the cost of doing business. So just be aware you will be seeing that increase effective July 1st. So if you have some stuff to get rid of, you got 2 weeks, you're gonna be paying twice as much.
Good to know. Now, on this, I'm going to ask city staff, do we see if we can prepare maybe a quick 2 or 3 sentence announcement that we put in the July magazine? I know we're kind of past their deadline, but it's early enough. I hope we can get it in. If there is a fee change that will affect people throughout the summer, I think we should make that announcement.
I will do better at getting that word to you earlier.
Are you saying for Wasatch Integrated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just an announcement for the dump fee is.
Sure. Yep, we can do that.
Okay, Lisa.
Okay, so I attended an architectural board meeting and we made great progress on some businesses that are going to be developed, and we discussed kind of branding and the progress that we can make on kind of connecting older buildings with some of the new ones. And so I'd like to discuss that in the next work session. I'll bring that up to you a little later. I attended the Safe Kids Fair in behalf of the illumination event that we'll be hosting here in Syracuse at the end of August. And we had a great turnout there and a lot of people excited to see what we do here in Syracuse. Attended the courthouse open house. That was wonderful. So Davis County Courthouse has just gone through a lot of renovations and they opened it to the public this last week to let you see what they've done and saw some incredible artwork, and Syracuse is mentioned in it. All the cities in the county are.
I did grab a brick for our museum.
I did too.
Oh, we have 2 bricks.
Two bricks.
Nice.
Actually,
Great.
I drew 2.
Oh, we have 3 bricks.
I double dipped because I figured it was for the museum heritage.
I'll pass that along. We'll be grateful.
Yeah, I've been meaning to drop them off.
And then this Saturday is the Syracuse pageant for Miss Syracuse pageant. So that will be in the evening. So we'd love for people to attend, and we'll have a new royalty coming up in a few days.
Just for clarification, so that I get this right on the next agenda, the architectural review that you'd like to discuss, give me.
Is doing some kind of a gradual updating of some buildings as it comes time for them to kind of renovate or fix. We were thinking maybe we could have some specific architectural pieces or colors and materials that they could add that would kind of be over time they could do it, rather than, let's pull down your facade now, but basically just a general gradual change.
Updating as we go.
Update as
Okay.
we go. That was succinct, Jen. Thank you for that. Yeah,
All
that
right,
took me a minute.
I think I have enough there to make that an agenda item and we'll do that for work or for June. Yeah, work. Seth.
So I attended last Thursday the CTC's Interfaith Introduction to CTC, and it was a really good opportunity to get together with faith leaders in our community and to talk about how impressionable and beneficial their insight can be for our youth who it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us that our kids are going through a lot more nowadays with the pandemic in regards to risky behavior, suicidality and ideation, depression, and all kinds of other mental illnesses, and then illicit substance use and vaping and other areas that they target. And so the ask is that we reach out to our other faith leaders in the community. We didn't have a great turnout. There was quite a few that were reached out to, and we did not get the turnout that, at least not the diversity of turnout that we were hoping to get. And so the ask is that we look into our community and find individuals that represent various communities, diverse communities of faith that can come together and support this. They're asking those individuals to just be part of an ongoing discussion, to be eyes in the community, to help identify families. They've got the programs, the evidence-based programs and practices that help, provide healthy practices and well-being and safety for our youth, but they're just not getting the kids to serve. We know they're out there. And so the ask is for all of us to reach out to our peers in the community that we know and point them in that direction. I'd be happy to field that. If you find folks that you want me to reach out to, Or if you want to include me in any conversations, I'm happy to do that as well. But Viviana Felix and with the CTC is the individual you'd reach out to directly to CTC. And they'd be greatly appreciative of that. Our kids are one of our greatest assets. So I hope we can do that.
Thank you.
Oh, with the planning commission, we have some upcoming changes in leadership there. So we have currently serving as chair is Commissioner Ryan Wessel, and vice chair is Commissioner Ivy Rulon. So they did at their last meeting vote to have a new chair and vice chair, which I believe was the new chair upcoming will be Kenneth Hellowell. And then the vice chair will be Keith Kennington.
I forgot something. Are you done? Sorry.
Yeah, that's all I have.
I had a big one. I'm so sorry. This slipped my mind, but this is a great opportunity for the city. For the Worldwide Day of Service in September 11th. They're just somewhere around there. There are 5 stakes of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who would like a group event that they could do that is something the city needs. So I brought that up to Brody in just a quick note to say I was going to bring it up, but if there's something big that we need for parks or rec or just anything, they'd like to do that. And it's, the stakes are all going to join together, but we'd like everybody that, we want a diverse group, the whole city involved, but they'll be backing it. So I think that's if
What's
we have
the
a big
date?
event, they said it doesn't need to be on September 11th, but just sometime around September 11th. And even if this year it's kind of in the beginning stages and we don't have anything huge prepared, they can keep that in mind for next year. But they would like an idea within this week if there's something we can get to them. It doesn't mean we have to have everything prepared for them, but they can back it. So that's a great opportunity for our city to have some help.
I have some ideas for you, Krista.
Go ahead, we've got time. I mean, if they need it this week, we should talk about it. Go ahead.
Oh, so, well, I would say that some of the things that need work is I know that I noticed some of the just things like at Jensen Park. I know the birdhouses are could use a little TLC.
The gate's broken at the horse arena.
And then, yeah, like at the horse arena,
Gate's
there's some
broken at the
work.
horse arena.
There's just little things. We could
Yeah,
add
give
stakes to
a
a gate.
big,
But those 5 minutes are stacking up.
We still need to redo the nature trail
Okay, all right,
at
so
Jensen Park.
I'm going to ask that you submit any ideas to
Okay.
Cresta, and we'll see what we can do and get the word done.
give it to me and I'll pass it on to the committee.
Okay. And Jordan, did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
The only thing is no one's talked about yet that I totally spaced is it's Syracuse Days next
Oh,
week.
Right.
I'm gonna ride my horse in the parade.
Awesome.
I did mention the pageant, but
You
that's
did mention the
beginning of
pageant,
it.
and can I just, I'm gonna put a plug in for the pageant as well. We have some incredibly talented young women in this community, and
Yeah.
I would encourage you that if you have the opportunity to go support them, because every time I'm just like amazed at these amazing young women, their talents, how well they present themselves. They are impressive, and anyone that can go should. What I've learned a lot about the pageant this year, just having worked with them in the past. Like these girls are doing they're learning interview skills. They are learning how to be confident. They are have to put on whole service projects. I went to one service project this past week that was along those same lines. She put on a class at the library to help spread the word about mental health and depression and how to cope with those. And these girls are out there doing some amazing things. And if you can, please support them. And then next week for Syracuse Days, we've got some amazing stuff planned between Children's Night, a cornhole tournament. Are you in there again, Brody? Oh,
The
man.
nighttime fun run,
We've got, yeah, the midnight.
our pageant girls.
Spike ball champion,
I need
yeah.
I need to find a guest to take with me to the seniors luncheon. So if anybody has a senior in the city that doesn't get out much, give me a holler and I would like to take them to lunch.
The car show, we got the parade at, is it
Pickleball tournament.
9 o'clock?
9.
9 o'clock, parade's at 9 o'clock. And then fireworks, and I've seen the magic show and some bands on Saturday. I mean, it is gonna be awesome. So please come out to Syracuse Days. I know a lot of the vendors that set up at the booths, they have some pretty cool stuff. And just, again, let's support our local community. Let's get out there and make sure that we get involved, because I think that's what builds a community, is just getting out and playing together.
Speaking of, I'll add something to it. Thursday afternoon, I'm going lemonade stand hopping. So if anybody knows of any lemonade stands they'd like to add to my list, I might get to bring some friends with me from the city. So that'll be fun.
Okay, so I want to bring up a couple of things from the Arts Council. There is Shrek will be opening in July, so watch for that. It is shaping up to be an exciting musical, and we want to come and support them. Should be fun for the whole family. It'll be at Syracuse High. Also, and this is a conflicting event, but it is what it is. So our jazz band have been invited to go to a community jazz festival. So they're going to be performing for the first time outside of our community, but it's because it's at a festival where other cities are sending a group to perform. It'll be in North Ogden this Saturday. So except for that's the pageant. So I'll be at the pageant and several of us will be at the pageant. And so, but so I'm not going to get to North Ogden, but they understand. Anyway, if you happen to be in North Ogden, you could watch our jazz band. The other thing I wanted to bring up is there was a fun part of opening the new courthouse in that they got the local renowned artist, Eric Dowell, to do a county painting, his first county painting. And they asked the mayors all to come and add a piece. We were featured in there. But after the event, I spent some time talking with him, and he would like to come and talk about maybe, it's not a for sure, but maybe doing a piece here. That would be very interesting if he did something in our community. So
He was amazing.
he was. He's very talented
And hilarious.
and a fun guy.
Yeah. Great
Yeah,
MC.
loads of fun. So just wanted to bring those forward. He's thinking about it. It's not for sure, but he has a project to try and get more Utah cities that he hasn't already been a part of. And the county is going to make a puzzle, as they do with many of his paintings, out of the county painting or the county painting. And so there will be puzzles available down the road. Just a thought. Okay, that's it. Does anybody have anything else? Brody?
Manager's report was submitted earlier today to you, so let me know if you have any questions on it, or if you have any direct questions for department heads, feel free to ask them as well.
Okay, I have a lot of things that are going to be added to our work session coming up. I've got them written down here. We'll make sure they make it on the agenda. Other than that, I'm going to call that we adjourn. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Anybody object? Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.